friends, and welcome to Story Kit Crush Fridays. If you are new here on Story Kit Crush Fridays, Krystal and I, Krystal's my partner in crime on this adventure, Krystal and I pick a story kit from Ali Edwards, and we spend the whole month trying to crush as much of the kit as possible, and then we aim to get videos up of our processes. Krystal is much better than I am at getting her videos up on time because my life is just in complete shambles these days. But this month we are crushing the Habit Story Kit, which I'm very excited about because I have lots of stories to tell about habits. When we talk about what kit we're going to crush next, Krystal and I try to look at what's happening in our lives together and in our lives separately. And so we worked on the Rest Story Kit, which was kind of perfect for the beginning of quarantine. And then we told some stories about change because quarantine. And now we're talking about habits because with life changing as fast as it is, and then with life also not changing at all, because I feel like we've been in this particular season forever, life looks different. And so the stories that we're telling right now look very different. And so we figured we would tell some stories about new habits, old habits, if we've picked up any habits since all of this has changed. And so one of the habits that I've picked up, well, I had picked up, it's kind of hard to keep it up now, but one of the habits that my husband and I had picked up was going on these walks. I had to quarantine from my job and my husband didn't. He was working the entire time. And so I was home a lot of the time and there was not much sunshine and not much of Tashi going out. And one day Joshua was like, enough is enough, you're going outside. And there was a bit of a debacle after that because I was like, I'm not going outside. But we went outside and it became a thing we did where we would go for these walks. And when we first started going for these walks, we would go outside for like 5 minutes and it would be like too much for me and we would have to just go back home. And then we just started going outside for longer and longer and longer, and then it just became a thing we did. And because I am a memory keeper and I do not know how to not do this, I just started taking pictures of our feet every time we are what we repeatedly do. I just started taking pictures of our feet every single time we went outside. And so I made a bit of a collage of 4 pictures of us while we were outside. Sorry, just trying to put these back together. Excellence. Okay, I'm just putting these back together so I could reconstruct it. So I started taking pictures of our feet while we were outside. And then I decided to tell a little story about a new habit. So here's what I did in Photoshop. And I have lots of videos on how to do pages like this. So I didn't film the assembling of this page in Photoshop because I do have a lot of processes of similar pages. But I just took some 3x4 photos, arranged it on a 6.75 by 8.25 canvas because I wanted to work outside the page protector. You could do the same thing with this and just put it in pockets. But Tashi is anti-pockets here. I very rarely use pockets, so I figured it would just be easier to arrange it in a page protector. Also, I work back to back in my album, and since I don't use pockets very often, it's just easier for me to have full-size pages, because then I could just adhere it to the back side of whatever the last thing was in my album. The other thing I did was I took some 3x4 cards and I made them 3x8. So here's this card that I just opened in Photoshop and I repeated. Really easy to do that. And then this card, if I can find it. Here, nope, that's not it. So what happens when you have stuff? Oh yeah, so here's this card, and again, I just put it in the center of the canvas and then made the entire canvas the color. And then lots of words because unless you're new here, Tashi likes words. And the other thing I did was I took the beginning stamp and I just repeated it along the bottom of my journaling just to tie the elements together. So here's what we have so far. I also love this this quote from Aristotle. It's something that I say all the time. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not, wait, oh my God, I mixed it up. Hold on, I don't want to mess it up. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I love that, and it's probably going to pop up in another story I plan on telling, because I plan on telling a story about studying and study habits. So I'll probably use this phrase again. But it's one of my favorite things. So I printed it out. It's this size on the card. So it's pretty small. What I did was I took it in Photoshop and I think I made the card about twice the size of what it was. And that way I had the actual words, and I'm just cutting the words up and I'm going to stick it directly onto my photo. Now I probably should plan this out better. I should plan this out, but I'm just gonna go for it. And if we hate it, we will fix it. But I'm literally just going for it. I chopped it up. I printed this on the same cardstock that I print all my journaling on. And I'm just gonna hack it up. I have Scotch quick dry glue in my fine line bottle. I'm gonna stick this down and I'll be right back. So I'm just about done sticking these down. And what this reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you guys ever did this, but when you were a kid and you cut out bits and pieces from magazines and you made your own collages, I did that all the time. Also, like, people do something similar with vision boards as grown-ups. You know, you just cut out phrases and words and things that mean something to you and assemble them on your page. That's what this reminds me of. And I really like how this came out. I like how graphic this element is. It's kind of funky, it's kind of weird, which is very much my memory keeping style. I think if I had to describe my memory keeping style in a phrase, it's kind of funky, kind of weird, kind of looks like I don't know what I'm doing. Also, I love that these colors are very similar to these colors, so everything kind of matches and it just pulls everything together. Now, I did not want this to be centered, so it is skewed to the right. It's skewed to the right on purpose. It's just a design choice that I made. It might not be something that everybody that might not be your cup of tea, but I rarely go for things to be perfectly centered on my pages. So it's definitely skewed right. And I wanted it to be kind of a pyramid. So it starts narrow, gets a little wider, and then it's really narrow at the base. And we're just gonna add some sort of chipboard to this. Let's see. Ooh, this habit. I like that. We'll put that at the top. There we go. We'll put this habit at the tippy top of our pyramid that we built. And we'll put it right here. So again, this is going at the center of what my pyramid is, which is not necessarily the center of the page, but I did skew everything to the right on purpose. I really want some sort of like banner piece. So maybe I'll go in my stash and pull out something that's like a banner to put at the bottom. But that is pretty much the left side of the page done. And then for the right, I'm doing what I always do when I need to have a million words on a page and there's not enough space, which is make a flip out. One of these days, my journaling will be nice and concise and it will fit on a 3x4 card. But today's not that day. So until then, we will make use of all the tricks I know to make flips and to hide longer stories. Because man, I'm a sucker for the story. I love words. That is my main objective with memory keeping, is getting as many words on the page as possible, in addition to, you know, photos every now and then. Every now and then. But the words are what get me. So what I did was when I cut this out, I left all this empty space here so I could just adhere this, and then this is what that side's gonna look like. So that's what the whole spread's gonna look like, and then I will put some sort of embellishment here also. But that's pretty much what the spread's gonna look like when it's in the book. And I kind of like how, again, I like this really graphic, chunky nature. I like the big photos, and I like that when you open it up, you have the words, and this beginnings element is repeating. So I am going to make a little dash at 3 inches to make sure that I leave myself enough space. Maybe I'll make a line actually. Okay, I'm gonna draw a little line to give myself some sort of guidance. Perfect. For when I actually stick this down. And I'm just gonna attach it directly onto this. Now, normally when I make flips, I use like a hinge and cardstock, but this is just a really easy way to do it because since I was printing this element anyway, I just left extra paper so I could stick this down directly, and also helps with the integrity of the page in the long run. So I'm just gonna use my line as a marker. Make sure this is pretty straight. This looks pretty straight. Stick that down. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much the page. All that's left to do is to embellish it. And with my storybook albums, I'm looking for my hole punch. Sorry, guys. With my storybook albums, I try to keep my embellishing mindful, so I don't just throw a bunch of stickers down. I'll be right back when I find my hole punch, though, because I do want to punch holes in this before I add anything else to it to make sure that it's not going to go through the holes. Okay, so we have found our hole punch. Everything is all right in the world. So one of the things I thought about doing was numbering these photos, but I don't want to put anything else on this page just because I have this big thing in the middle. So I'm not going to number it, but I did play around with the idea of numbering these photos because the Habit Story Kit came with these fun numbers, but now I can save that for another project. And I need to stop talking myself into saving things and talking myself into putting things on pages because I'm going to save everything, but that's not the point of this project. The point is to use stuff up and not to hoard things forever and ever. And I am a very good hoarder. So I want to put one of these rubber, sorry, my scoring is not super straight, so I just want to straighten this out before I put it in the album and it stays with this funky score line. I did score this in advance with my Martha Stewart scoreboard, which is one of my favorite crafty tools because I'm always doing things like this, so I need to be able to score things down. Do I want to go with the Keep Going or the Make It Happen? I like this red. Or I'm trying to decide if I want to use the red or the teal because both colors are here and here. So either one will work. I think I'm going to go with the Keep Going. Even though my walking habit did not keep going because I had to go back to work and there was less time to roam the streets. But I'll read a little bit of my journaling to you because there was a line in it that made me laugh. I laugh at myself first before I read it to you guys. And there's a line in here that really made me chuckle. So I'll read a bit of my journaling to you, but I just wrote about starting a new habit, which was the walking. Another thing is normally I would stick down rubber embellishments with red line tape. I am currently out of red line tape. I have some coming in the mail. So I'm just using a bit of wet glue. I don't know how long this will last. So when my red line tape comes, I will be going back in and adding a little bit of red line tape underneath this just to make sure that this stays down in the long run. I do think red line tape is the best adhesive for rubber embellishment. So it's just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about what adhesives you want to use. I think, again, the red line tape is the best one. So actually, you know what, you guys, I think I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to add another banner. I really like how balanced this looks. So I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. So I'll quickly read you a little bit of my journaling. I'll read you my favorite part. Okay, so in the beginning, I talked about the walks. So I said, I take zero credit for these adventures. In fact, I fought Joshua tooth and nail and tried to avoid going into the sunlight as much as possible, like some sort of newborn vampire who fed only on Animal Crossing, pajamas, and kanji delivered by Uber Eats. But he was persistent and he was almost as relentless about this as he was in his pursuit of me. And somehow, some way, we found ourselves outside. At first, it was just a rotation around the block before my agoraphobia would get the best of me and I needed to get back inside where it was safe. And then it was a mile, and then 2, and then 3, until I was going on these walks alone for hours, just looking at the world around me and being warmed from the sunlight in. What started as a Herculean effort became light and easy and a joy and something I started looking forward to. And isn't that how habits are formed? Repetition of the mundane task that seems unsurmountable until it isn't. Now that I'm back at work full time, there's less time for 3-hour walks with his hand in mine, but we still make time. And I still snap the photo of our feet against the concrete to save for later. And I still mentally check off a day that it's happened. Repeatedly doing the things that bring me joy. Repeatedly making this little bit of excellence a habit. So, invitation to you to document a new habit or an old habit, but if you have picked up any new habits in the last few weeks in light of what's going on, invitation to you to document it. And you don't need to have the habit story kit. You don't ever need to have the story kit that we're using to tell the stories, because we're just using the story kits as a lens. But whatever materials you have, even if you just have a photo and a piece of paper and a pen, that's all you need to document your story. So, invitation to write a little bit about a habit that you've picked up in the last few weeks. Take a photo, get it in the album, and tell your story. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed this process. I'll be sharing photos on Instagram like I normally do. And don't forget to head to Krystal's channel to see what she made this week. Krystal shared a little bit with me about her project planning process. And you guys, her brain is insane. Like when I'm project planning, I'm literally flying by the seat of my pants. I might have an idea. I might sketch something out. And Krystal in advance has taken her whole story kit and has like planned out like infinite number of projects. And I cannot wait to see what she does next. So again, I'll tag her in the description box if you're not already following her, and I will see you for the next Story Kit Crush. So next time, keep it crafty and have the best day. Bye!